Today I'm going to be talking about the past meeting the present and how well that's going. So, after the Portuguese debacle on Duolingo earlier this year, where all of a sudden I had nothing else to learn on the app, and after I'd stopped fuming, I thought, okay, when I was a student I started learning German, but never got very far. What would happen if I tried that again? I had never touched German since finishing my course. I didn't see the point, and there weren't easy ways to learn at the time, unless you include listening to cassette tapes and repeating words. That was popular for a long time. This might seem strange, seeing as German was the language I had wanted to be my second language at school. But once I was in the world of work, living in London, working long hours and having to commute for a couple of hours every day, there really wasn't much time for anything else. It wasn't a priority. But zooming forward to the present, well, it felt like the time had come. Why not? I had nothing to lose. If I failed, I didn't have to make it public. My aim would be to understand it, not necessarily to be able to talk it fluently. I could also add it to my book rotation. So I clicked on the German course on Duo. This was around the 5th or 6th of June. Yeah, quite some time ago. The sounds were easy for me. I hadn't forgotten those. I'm not saying I'm perfect at them, but they weren't a struggle to relearn. They were just there. And a lot of the words in the first section were either somewhere in my brain or were so close to English words that it was easy. I jumped units quite a lot in that first section and had it finished in 3 days. To tell you the truth, I'm still doing a lot of jumping. But that's a Duolingo thing, not specifically German. At that stage, it actually felt like the German course was much better set out than the others. The topics seemed more relevant in terms of vocabulary. However, as I progressed through the course, its failings began to become clearer. Because the grammar tips that you do have on the German course are so sparse, they don't give you the whole picture. And they do annoying things like, "You'll see this happening, but we're not going to tell you what it is yet. We're going to keep you in suspense." They don't actually say that last bit, but that's what they're doing. I also think that as you go further, the way the grammar tips are written gives the impression they think they've explicitly told you how to do something, when I'm not sure they have. Trying to guess what's happening is a real nightmare. I would say it's impossible to learn German on Duolingo without having a grammar book. So I got a grammar book. Okay, apart from the failings of the app, which we all know, what about the language itself? A lot of the vocabulary is so close to English, or exactly the same, that it's easy. The things that aren't the same are so different it's difficult. This I find especially challenging with the verbs. Ignoring the whole word order nightmare, many verbs don't sound like English. Some of them are split apart. Some of them take a particular case after them, and reflexive verbs really test your ability to work out what goes where. Another thing I have problems with is the pronouns, because between the different kinds there are some that are so similar or the same, but referring to different people, that I just can't get my head around them. Actually, that happens with the definite articles too. Let's go back to the grammar tips, or not, on Duolingo with an example. There was one section where it became apparent they were introducing zu before an infinitive. There were no grammar tips on that section. But as the lesson progressed, I noticed the zu and decided I needed to look this up. Was this something it was trying to teach me without telling me what it was? Yeah, it definitely was. If you had no experience of learning a language, you could easily have missed that and likely wouldn't understand what you were being taught. There need to be more explanations. There really do. And German is one of the best supported languages. Now, on to tenses. The imperfect and perfect tenses were well flagged up. Not that they always call them that. But it got to the point that I thought, when are they going to introduce other tenses? So I looked at my grammar book to see how they were done. Guess what? I'm pretty sure both the future and the conditional had been covered surreptitiously, obtusely. I had seen these verb forms of the verb to become, but didn't understand that these could be used as an auxiliary verb in the future and conditional tenses. That may not be the correct term, because they're both used with the infinitive of the main verb, not the past participle. Once I knew that, I tried to look out for them, but I just hadn't got it from the way Duolingo taught me that this was two actual tenses. And I know a bit about languages. It's possible the pluperfect has been snuck in there too without me realising. Anyway, after finding this out, I made myself a little crib sheet to be going on with all the endings so I could better recognise what I was looking at when they came up. Also, I don't remember anything specific being said about weak, strong and mixed verbs, other than a "some verbs do this" kind of comment, which in my opinion is less than useless. I think I need to repeat this till I'm blue in the face. Duolingo, you need to properly explain these things, not just assume they will be understood through osmosis. Well, if you're serious about teaching languages, that is. People who don't want to know anything about grammar can ignore the explanations. Those who do will thank you no end. I know at some point my brain will work all these things out. Probably once I get to the stage of reading, which should be quite soon, or may even have happened by the time this goes live. But some days it feels a lot like groping in the dark. However, I am glad I'm doing it.